Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip on the show, no scandal, and no K words, no Kanye talk or P. Diddy talk of any kind. In fact, if you are looking for what the headlines are today, we are not going to be talking about that because there's plenty of places where you can get that, and it's almost always negative. But this is a show that balances out all the bad news with good news, good people, good series, good co-hosts, and today is no exception. I am so delighted to bring you this morning on Mental Health Matters Mondays, my newest series, which is every first Monday of the month. And this is the best time to introduce a topic like this because it is the new year and we are celebrating a new you. So I have two people. One you will recognize, Larry Burton. He's the creator of the Pondera Process, an innovative energy psychology technique that effectively alleviates distressing emotions, beliefs, and memories. You know him as the co-host of this special series. He's a certified practitioner with over 20 years of experience. Larry's dedicated to helping individuals move forward in their lives with greater ease. And my special guest, our special guest this morning is Jeff Herring. For 25 years, he worked in private practice, helping anxious people change their lives. Then Jeff traded his couch for a mouse so he could help more people get to where they want to be as fast as possible in a way that sticks. Please welcome to my studio, Larry Burton and Jeff Herring. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Great to be here.
Yes, wonderful. And we start every show for the last couple of years in the most positive way, which is to have breakfast with my guests and co-hosts, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, top of the bun, things we're grateful for outside of ourselves, bottom of the bun, things that we're grateful for inside of ourselves. Because especially since it's Mental Health Monday Matters, I know that the foundation of good mental health is self-care, self-love, self-soothing. And that's why I get you to work your muscle. What do you like about yourself? And we model that for you so you do it before you go to bed tonight. And we'll just start right at the top with, what are you grateful for, Larry Burton, this morning? One, because we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah. Outside of myself, I think both outside and inside, the intention of spending time with friends and families over the holidays. So you don't get that as much during the year. And it's nice to have that opportunity to have that community.
Fabulous. And I am grateful that my bonus mom is out of ICU now and has beaten at 92 MRSA and sepsis. So that's pretty amazing. And I'm really grateful for that. Jeff, what are you grateful for?
Well, outside of myself is about 5 feet that way. My youngest son happens to be sitting in on this.
Oh.
So Caleb, say hi.
Hey.
Hey, Caleb, you just got the gratitude. Yeah, all right. And then let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is, what do you like about yourself? And this is for my present company excluded. Not easy for a lot of people because we're told you're not all that. Who do you think you are? And as a result, we have our antennas up looking for love or likes, literally these days in social media, in all the wrong places. So I want you to know how great you are. 88% of the time. You're not perfect, but there are things that you are good at, that you like about yourself, qualities that you have. So I'll start. I appreciate my sense of humor. I laugh often and much, which is Emerson's definition of success. And most of all, I laugh at myself. And boy, lately I've been laughing myself. I've been laughing my assets off. So we'll just do that as something that I like about myself. Larry, what do you like about yourself?
Well, I think in connection to having friends and family around, I'm grateful that I have flexible boundaries, but they're there. So I did not try to control things. I just kind of rolled with it, and it created a lot less anxiety through the holidays and a lot more joy. And I'm willing to do it again.
Awesome. Awesome. Good, because there's a holiday coming up again, Chinese New Year.
Okay.
Jeff Herring, what do you like about yourself?
Like you, Marissa, I'm grateful for my sense of humor, and I think that's a part of why I have so many family and friends around that are, a crucial part of my world.
Beautiful. All right, and that's it for a shortened breakfast today, because we want to talk about anxiety, but not the problem, the solution of it. Excuse me. So we're going to get to that. But I would like to encourage you for the next 21 or 28 consecutive days to start your day with taking a bite of my or someone else's gratitude sandwich every weekday morning here on my show or on your own. And I know that if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone else to approve of you? So start with yourself. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. I won this at Dave & Buster's. This is my official now. The topic of the day, and it says everything is awesome, is got anxiety? We have two experts here with a new program called Anxiety Away, and we're going to spend the rest of the hour talking about the program. In the first half of every show, I like to put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room, and looking at the actual problem. I know I'm solution oriented, but I like to keep it real. So I'm going to ask both of you to describe people who come to you, or what is going on in the world today that is making anxiety a number one issue, a number one problem, something that is, it seems to be affecting all of us, especially this past year with the election. We're not talking politics or religion, but the realness of anxiety and sort of maybe how it's morphed over the years. You're my experts on anxiety. So I'll let you point at the person who wants to start. 1, 2, 3, point. No, that's me. Wrong one. Wrong one. The other way.
He's the founder of this process. I mean,
all right.
Yeah, but you pointed to Marissa.
So, yeah, I know. Yeah.
On my screen, I'm pointing over here at you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things. All right, Larry, go for it.
The short answer is social media, because we have always had media that was fear-mongering, that if it bleeds, it leads. So it's looking for the most recent crisis, trying to scare people into doing something. You've got all the advertising trying to tell you you've got a problem so that you buy this in order to fix something, and they're trying to create a problem to sell you something. But it's sort of like you could always not look at the National Enquirer in the past. But now you're bombarded all around you with this stuff, and it makes it a challenge. So I often use the example of you want to bring as much light as you can into your life. And you can do that intentionally, but you've got all these people that are trying to throw shade at you. And it makes it more and more challenging. People just have to learn to be discerning in terms of what they take into their life, both toxic people and toxic media. And that's a challenge, particularly for young people. They haven't learned that discipline.
Mm-hmm. My big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, says, if they throw you shade, you throw back light.
Yeah.
So take your own lampshade off and sort of glow them out. So that's been my little charge, so to speak. But yeah, and I don't know if, of course, I'm media, so I'm a little sensitive when people throw shade on media at large. And I will have to say that there's some human responsibility that media didn't create the news. Media shows us the news that seems to get eyeballs on it. And unfortunately, we just can't help it. We got to see the roadkill. We got to look at the accident. We have to, tune our ears for what's wrong with people, what's wrong with the world. And that's the news. And social media has enhanced that. And it's also certainly given people the ability to be stupid and mean and cruel without consequence. And thanks to not the brightest AI, I would say artificial stupidity instead of artificial intelligence, whatever is clicked on doesn't mean it's true, right? So we've got the added factors, but I believe it's the fundamental, personal choice, whether you pay attention to what the producers want to show you or not. So it's really not media's fault.
No, media's just a vehicle. Yeah,
because no one's holding us down, making us watch something.
Correct. Yeah, no gun to the head on that one. But certainly, as you say, Larry, it has kind of put it on steroids.
It's always been a challenge. You always have to be selective in terms of what radio station you listen to or what TV station you listen to. And for Jeff and I, when you get to be 70 plus, we've seen a lot of TV and heard a lot of radio in the past, and it put the current situation into broader context. And Jeff can speak to this, but the brain is wired to look for problems in order to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm. And what you said, Larry,
for that.
What you said, Larry, along those lines about social media is so true. And when it really hit me, I mean, I've worked with anxiety my whole career.
Now you're a psychologist, right? Are you
a counselor? I was a counseling psychologist, retired from that in 2007. And now I just do a lot of coaching, not just, but I do a lot of coaching.
Right.
Lot of the same kind of stuff. And one of the things I love doing and have done for several years is work with older teens and young adults in small groups at our church. And being around them and listening to what's troubling them has been amazing, because one year I sat down with the high school guys and I said, all right, there's a message every day. We're here, and then we've got a curriculum or a guide to ask questions from. I want to know what you guys want to talk about this year. And the answer blew me away. It was stress, anxiety, and depression. And I sat there thinking, you're 15. The biggest thing I was stressed about when I was 15 was Bonnie going to be my girlfriend, but it's not like that for them anymore. The other thing I thought of when I heard that stress, anxiety, and depression is the acronym spells SAD. Well, yeah, if you're stressed, anxious, and depressed, yeah, you're going to be sad, right? And so a lot of what I focused on, Larry's focused on, actually how we got together is his Pondera process and helping people. And, here's another example of how prevalent this is, okay? I'm you may have noticed, kind of friendly and outgoing. And so I end up making friends wherever I go. Learned that from my dad. If you're going to spend a 15-minute errand with my dad, plan on a half hour, because if he didn't know everybody, he was gonna. And so at the grocery store, I've become friends with a lot of the clerks and checkout people. Okay. Well, one person 2 or 3 months ago, she's walking my cart out, to the car, and we're talking like we always have. And she starts talking to me about her anxiety. And I just kind of stopped, because it's the last person you would think would be anxious, just the very last. And, she just started right there in the parking lot of the grocery store, and so that blew me away. And I pulled something from the old counseling coaching days. And I asked her, I said, so can you teach me how to get anxious like you do? And she looked at me funny, like everybody does, kind of like you just did. I said, what I want to know is, what are the steps? If I was going to get anxious the way you do, teach me what to do. I said, you don't got to answer that right now. Maybe the next time I come by, but just think of it. Next time I came by, she said she went home, told her sister and her mom, and they were all like, let's do that. All right. So my office hours are, and all that to say, it's just, in the world we live in, the question is not, how can I be anxious? It's, how can I not be? And what do I do about it?
Yeah. 85% of all doctors' visits are summarized or identify what the problem is stress. 85%. And that's like an old one. That was pre-COVID number. Like, I'm afraid to look, because I'm afraid I'm going to see 110%, and then I won't want to leave the house, because I don't want to, because stress does not bring out the best in anyone. I mean, maybe an athlete, when they are, ready to do that Olympic performance or whatever it is, but most of the time, and you guys are the experts as well on, what does stress do? What does anxiety do to the body? So as we, stay in the problem for a little bit more, why is this even an issue? As you sort of flip the question around, teach me how to be anxious. Why do we even need to address this? What is anxiety affiliated with, or what can it cause?
Great question about what it can cause. Larry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Here's a story. Okay. Back in grad school, I was working and going to grad school, and I started waking up in the morning with my hands and feet tingling. First it was my fingers and toes, and then it was my hands and feet, and then it was working up the way up my legs and my arms, and then got to my face. And I was on a vacation and playing volleyball in the pool. And the only reason I knew I was standing was I wasn't drowning, because I couldn't feel my feet on the bottom. Went back home, got a hold of my doctor, and I said, I want you to give me every test you got, because something is wrong. I'm like 25, right? And he goes, Jeff, it's stress. And we were friends, so he could really kind of, kid me about it. And I said, no, you got to give me everything. He gave me everything, and he goes, you're an amazingly healthy 25-year-old. It is stress? Yeah. And I began to ask myself some questions, like, all right, because my schedule was just really packed. And I said, all right, who sets your schedule at the private practice? Oh, you do. Who sets your schedule at the treatment center where you work? That's even worse. Not only do I set my own, I set everyone else's. I'm thinking, maybe I've got something to do with this.
I'm thinking just daily stressors, like the woman that you bumped into. Just how am I going to keep my job in this economy? How am I going to save money in this economy? How am I going to retire? Who's going to take care of me? How are my kids going to be, brought up in the country the way it is now, or are they going to be healthy, or are they going to be successful? My parents, I call this generation the shock absorber because they've got elder care and child care. Those are just normal things. And then you add on all the specifics around what's going on in the world right now, war, no war, dictatorship, no dictatorship, all of those added. It's a wonder that we're not all, anxious and walking around with our hair on fire. However, and I want to just, I was told it's normal to have sort of that heightened anxious feeling because we're human beings. And in the old days, we needed to get stressed when we saw something different, right? So woolly mammoth, you better be stressed. You better look for something different. You're going to get eaten. No woolly mammoths around anymore. And we seem to invite things to worry about, invite things to be anxious about, look for problems. So speak to that.
Yeah, let me take a shot at that, because in the brain, there's a portion of the brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is what triggers the fight or flight instinct and releasing cortisol into the body. That's when you're feeling stress and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling a flood of cortisol into your body, which serves a purpose when there's a legitimate threat. But that amygdala is a smoke alarm which detects when there is a threat and then tells the body to react accordingly. But what is happening is that with all the false fears, if we could call it that aren't life-threatening, is that smoke alarm has become hypersensitive. So we've all probably had an issue where the smoke alarm, the battery runs down and it starts beeping all the time or something, or it's just triggers when there's all you're doing is frying the eggs kind of deal. So because of our environment and because we're bombarded with so much 3-alarm fire stuff, our brains have gotten wired to be highly sensitive to threats, to perceive them when they're not there. And now your body is reacting in that fight or flight mode continuously. So you're dumping all this additional cortisol in there, which is raising pressure, not good for the heart. And you start having the tingling, you start not being able to sleep. You get difficulty concentrating. Panic attacks, those all kinds of symptoms that come from that. Mm-hmm. So that's part of where it is that we've got to learn how to turn down the smoke alarm in our brain, and then to avoid stuff that is trying to make it that way.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you have to hit a reset. Otherwise, things just keep piling on, and you're in that constant heightened state of crazy, really, because you're imagining worst case scenario.
It's a great way to say it, Marissa. And that's if you were gonna condense down Larry's whole process into one word, it would be what you just said. It's a reset, isn't it, Larry?
Yep. Yeah, because part of why gratitude is so important is that in your nervous system, you have your sympathetic and parasympathetic, which is that fight flight again that is there. But you also have the ventral vagal, which gives you a feeling of safety, connection, and well-being. But that has to be nurtured. That's why gratitude is so important. When you practice gratitude, you are building up that emotional break in your nervous system that dampens down all the other stuff that's coming in.
Mm-hmm. It always surprises me that the things that people get anxious and worried about, there's almost like no link to, have you been homeless before? Have you lost everything before? No, but I hear people who have, or I'm afraid that it might happen. I don't know if I'll ever be prepared enough. And what if this and what if that? And it's like, Wow, that in it of itself is crazy making, and
Yeah.
you're choosing to, set yourself up for a life that is constant anxiety and fear. Obviously, my middle name is Pollyanna. I'm huge student of Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, and I know that every topic has two ends. You even when you're feeling pain in your shoulder, I had a torn rotator cuff. I could either, oh, this is never going to go away, and it's going to be horrible. I'm never going to teach Tai Chi again. Da 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 da. Or you know what? I've had pain before. I know how to treat it. I know how to heal it, and it's just a sign to chill out and take a break off my 8 jobs every day. So but not everybody has that mindset, and it's like, is this a learned thing, or people who are worry warts are just
Well,
going to be
here's a
that
little
for the rest of their
here's a little secret for you. You can become addicted to anxiety.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You can become addicted to any emotion.
Oh yeah. There's a
So your
great
body gets used to this sort of thing, and now you stop being anxious. Your body feels like something's out of whack, so you go looking for something to be anxious about.
Interesting.
that's really true. I've talked with people that wake up in the morning and scan their day until they find a thing to be anxious about. and then they're off. And you made a great point about, it may be things that aren't going to happen or have never happened. There's a great video of a Bob Newhart show back when he was a psychologist, and the woman comes in and he gives a spiel about, we do $5 for 5 minutes here, or $5 every 5 minutes or whatever. He goes, most everything can be taken care of in 5 minutes. She's like, all right. And he says, what's the problem you want to address? And she said, well, I'm scared of being buried in a box. Well, have you ever been buried in a box? Well, no. And so Newhart goes, okay, I'm going to give you a one word, that can help with this, the 2 words that can help with this. Should I write them down? Well, most people can remember the 2 words. And he goes, here they come. Stop it. And if only it was that easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If only it was that easy. Because what has become the we call them the parking lot conversations now with my buddy at the grocery store, is the next step of after saying, okay, teach me how to get anxious. Then you start breaking those patterns. You attack those steps, and make fun of them, reframe them. And we've been mentioning gratitude a lot. I think there's it's important. I think there's another piece to that, and that's perspective. Because when we're anxious, we've lost perspective. Mm-hmm. And perspective is the only thing I know that can change the outcome of something without changing the facts.
That's a great point. We're going to take that apart when we come back. We need to take a break for news, weather, and traffic here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa and today's special guests, Jeff Herring with Larry Burton, the co-host of the series Empowered Relationship Relief, now every first Monday of the month. We'll be right back. Don't go away. The late, great Chuck Woolery would say, we'll be back in 2 and 2. I say, because you know my brand, peace in and peace out. We'll be right back with more here on Empowered Relationship Relief.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, Number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel where you can watch and listen. These past 622 consecutive weeks, but who's counting? This is podcast show number 1301. We just celebrated 1300 on Friday. So glad that you're here. So glad that the people said a show about hope and happiness wouldn't last more than a year. We're wrong. And I'm so glad that today I do have a very special guest on this special series called Empowered Relationship Relief with myself and
Larry and Jeff.
Larry Burton is the founder of the Pondera Process, and I'm going to pull up his website just to give you some direction on how to find him and how to get a lot of his free stuff. Those of you who missed any of the past shows that I've done with Larry, he actually worked on me. I was the victim. I mean, the volunteer. He used the Pondera Process on myself when it comes to my my dating or lack thereof life and looking for a new relationship. It was a very powerful process. And I still, when I'm meditating, I used to just have my hand on my heart because I was told that I had brain cells in my heart. And now I do this while I'm meditating, which is part of the Pondera Process. So I wanted to make sure you had a way to find him as we're talking, as well as now we're going to switch gears and talk about the product that you both came together with, which is Anxiety Away. So we've made the case that anxiety not good for you. Understatement of the day. And now we're going to move into solution. And if you can see it, is it showing up now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. This is the website that houses Larry's Pondera Process. There's so much free stuff that you can get. There's a whole thing here called freebies. So go ahead and take advantage of Larry's experience and help. And he's extremely easy to work with. There's so many things in here that you can use. Don't use it alone. Larry's available to help with any of these things. Or you can even, there's a script there, you can use it with a friend, but lots of relief here. But I want to focus on, I think is it in the store?
We have it on a different platform. It's not here on the website. Okay. So, but if you go to the Pondera path, we can show you how that fits in with alleviating the anxiety. So go back to freebies.
Okay.
And scroll down to the Pondera path.
Almost there.
It's
this
further.
one?
You're in the store.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let's go back. This one? The free resource library? Nope.
Try hitting home.
Home. ET. Go home.
There you go.
Freebies.
All right. Then freebies. Okay. Here we go.
There you are. You got it. All right. So what Jeff and I did is just pulled together our experience, and between us, we've got a lot of experience. And decided, okay, how do we use what we know to address this issue? And part of it is realizing that anxiety is just, a form of energy. And that you can address that by tapping into that which is more than yourself. And this is just a structured way of doing it. So we start there, and one of the first things we do is show people how to work with the central nervous system, the vagus nerve, in order to balance the energy that's there. We know that we're getting bombarded by stuff that's disrupting and creating anxious. It's just that disrupted energy. So in the anxiety way, we show you how to balance that out so that you're more calm. And then move on and work directly with the emotion so that you can bring down the intensity of any anxiety that you're feeling. And then going to the beliefs and tapping into what Jeff was saying. Yeah, it's about perspective. It's how you see things. What's the belief that you're bringing to it? You know, if you believe that you're going to get trapped in a box, then you're going to be anxious about it. But you can unhook from that belief using the tools that we provide in the anxiety away. And you can move from those limiting, stress-inducing, anxiety-producing beliefs to ones that give you more peace and serenity. We lost your audio.
I know it's very difficult to mute me. I'm the only one that can mute me. Every once in a while, just for fun, I do that. So just to practicalize some of this that you just said. So if we go back to your buddy at the grocery store, and what is the limiting belief, or what is the belief system that was keeping her or anyone in that heightened state of anxiety most of the time?
That's a great question. Larry, take it. That's the Pondera process.
Well, you'd have to ask her, but you know, the common ones are just that everything's all or nothing. So everything's either all bad or all good. And if it's just a little bit bad, then it's all bad. So that catastrophizing is what they call it. So you're making a mountain out of a molehill rather than keeping it in context.
So worst case scenario.
You immediately go there in your thinking and belief system. So it's self-inflicted anxiety.
From the happiness coaching that I do, one of the common limiting beliefs, or BS, I say, call the belief system, is that bad things are going to happen to me because I deserve it, because that's what I was told, 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. And we believe that we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we are not special in a good way, we're never going to catch up, we're as broken as we were told we are, that the breaking of my heart, or the telling me I'm fat, ugly, and clumsy, all of those BS perpetuating belief systems that I grew up with, that's my limiting belief. That's my core BS that generates the anxiety. So anytime anything bad happens to me, of course it's going to happen to me, because no matter how much I succeed or how much I achieve, bottom line I'm good for nothing and I'll never be enough. How's that?
Is you think of your brain as a computer, and as a child, it's getting programmed. And unfortunately, a lot of us get programmed with a lot of BS. And that creates the beliefs that we then think are just normal and part of who we are. And that's the program we run with. Part of this is realizing we've been programmed to be anxious. We can change, we can shift the programming. We can go in and see where the bugs are and remove them. We can clean it up. We can defrag our computers so that we can be more peaceful. And that's what we're providing with the Anxiety Away product is a step-by-step process for you to just kind of clean that up and let go of as much anxiety as you want to let go of.
Ooh, I love what you just said. Let go let go of as much anxiety as you'd like to. You mean there's a choice with this?
You can keep some of it, Jeff. It's okay.
How does that choice become practical as you take somebody through the Pondera process?
Well, the secret here is that everything is a form of energy, and that's not what's commonly taught. It's not what you were trained to believe. It's not what I was initially trained to believe. And it's only in the last 20 years, as I started looking at when I realized that a lot of the traditional techniques were not helping me with my anxiety and after a divorce and the verge of 2 nervous breakdowns and so forth. And then I came along and realized, what they've been doing for thousands of years in other cultures might really apply here. So when you realize that there's an energy to a belief, that you can go in and neutralize that and shift it. And when you learn how to intentionally shift the energy around any emotion or belief, then you can move it to something that's more empowering. It's a more effective way of reframing what it is that you're experiencing.
And that's been my experience working with you, Larry, is that it's beyond cognitive thought change. It's beyond that stop it. It's because it's impossible to just stop it. If it's something that is so deep inside that it's here, right? And that's like, or in every chakra, in every, place, it's so ingrained that it's way more difficult than the simple stop it is been my experience. And it's a continuous thing. Like your ad says you can, have a calm life. I think almost everybody I know wants to have peace of mind, peace of heart. But that anxiety will always keep you from any kind of peace inside, right? Inside or out. Now, this is a quick process. I want to point out that your product is not 10 years of therapy, which is why I do happiness coaching. I think all three of us here have sort of rebelled as to the traditional approach to feeling better and feeling good. Nothing against therapists, nothing against traditional psychology or psychiatry. Well, yeah, I do have a little bit against, but the idea that you have to spend 10 years, I don't want to be any part of that. So how many?
On my wife's phone.
Is that okay? How many seconds or minutes did you say that this process can work at best?
You'll get results in less than 20 minutes if you're dealing with an emotion.
That's a pretty.
I know that. I've experienced that, and I've heard it a lot. Every time I hear that, I think, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's real.
Here's why that's happening, and part of this is that we're trained to think that we're mind body, so we can use willpower to shift things. So we're trying to shift it from the head. But in reality, we're mind body energy, and we shift it from the heart. So what we're doing is showing you how to tap into your superpower. We want you to move from willpower to your superpower. And with anxiety away, we're just showing an effective, simple path for doing that.
Interesting. I'm looking for. Did you email me that link of the anxiety away?
I did. Yeah.
You did. Okay. I'm gonna go look for that. Okay. Here it is.
It was the bit.ly, BITLY.
Yes.
And while you're doing that, a story comes to mind that fits this, Larry, really well. And it took me years to figure this out. And I think it's going to be a lifelong project, although it's gotten better. My mom had a very elegant way of making you feel horrible. But I have the first time I realized that was I got this flash of being at home with the kitchen bar between me and my mom, and I was apologizing for something. Okay, and the response was, "You should be sorry, comma, I'm thoroughly disgusted with you." And that got in. Okay, and I thought I'd handled it. And about 5 years ago, I was on a men's retreat at a place called Woodlands Camp, and the guy was talking about this whole kind of stuff. And there must have been about 200 men in the room. And he's talking, and he's looking at different people going, you know, God's not disappointed in you. God's not mad at you. God's not this. This man and I had never met, okay? He looked right at me and said, God's not disgusted with you.
Wow.
What? You know, and that was a big breakthrough. He and I talked about it afterwards. At the same time, I made that erroneous belief of, okay, this is fixed now. No.
It's a habit.
I think it's a lifelong process. And Larry, what you do is help people begin that. Okay, it's 20 minutes. It's people come out of that 20 minutes, and they've got more power than that wrong belief has.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like we did with Marissa, is that you identify the belief that's causing the anxiety or whatever the emotion is, and then you are able to intentionally shift the energy around that belief using your superpower. Now it's easier to reframe or reprogram, and you're able to unhook from that old belief and take on a new belief, one that serves you now.
What do you mean by unhook?
There is, you know, this is part of the mystery of it, and I'm not going to be able to fully explain it, but there is an energy signature to every belief. When you tap into that power, which is more than yourself, you're bringing the energy of pure love to it. It does create a opening in the brain for you to be able to see another way of looking at something, and to give you to feel safe shifting your perspective.
So I'm gonna do a moose on the table reaction on this. By the way, Jeff, I was born in Canada, so instead of saying the elephant in the room, I talk about putting the moose on the table. Just so you know.
Hey. Hey.
And if I had not experienced this, and I was hearing this for the first time, so a common reaction I hear is, well, one, I don't believe in a power. I don't believe, the God that I grew up with was angry, needed anger management classes, similar to, Jeff's mom, my mom, she'd use the commandments to wield power and to control what I was saying and doing. And if I didn't do exactly what she wanted, I was a bad person. I was going to get punished. And, I was displeasing God. So I don't want that. And I don't have a belief. And with all these bad things that are happening, there can't really be a God. So I'm screwed because I don't believe in that. I don't believe that that everything's going to be okay. So for someone like that, how does that even translate or get to a place where are you saying that they will always be condemned to anxiety if you can't, jump that hurdle for belief in the power of love or power outside of yourself or any of that? I don't disagree with you at all. I'm just being real about many people who can't make that step. Can they still have this process work?
Right.
Well, yeah, so many people grew up in the wrong belief system, because if you come out of a belief system feeling that way and thinking that way, you've been in the wrong one. And Larry, what you do so well is help people use that higher power, use that power of love to change. Tell us more about that, because that's a great quote.
Right. No, I agree. See, well, Jeff and I, one of the things we have in common is that we both worked with people in recovery from addiction. So in my experience with that, these are folks that, 12-step higher power, this sort of thing. I'm with a group and I ask them, can you feel in your body the presence of a higher power or anything? None of them could. It was blank. So That's why when you look at the Pondera path, the very first step is I give people a way to create a safe space for themselves. Kind of an emotional refuge. You always have a place you can go and know that you, inside yourself, you're perfectly safe. The next step is called the process for loving light. And this is what I created working with the folks in recovery. It was a way for them to feel in their body their connection to something which is more than themselves. It has nothing to do with religion. It works for every culture, every belief system, everything. It's just that. And what we know from quantum physics is everything's a form of energy. So by doing that, now when people can begin to feel, oh, there is something more than myself, or you take them to that a time in nature when they realize that this is a big place and I'm just a speck in a bigger picture, or however it is. So then you can build from that somatic feeling, that feeling in their body, to then moving towards the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do the vagus nerve protocol, you quickly feel it in your body. You feel yourself starting to relax. You feel yourself being less stressed. You feel less anxiety. And then you just build on that. So this is just building on top of each positive experience.
If you want to actually witness this working, in the playlist Empowered Relationship Relief on my YouTube TV channel, free subscribe, you can watch me actually go through this process and not just talk about it, but see, it's triggering the memory. When you did this with me several times, one thing that I could feel like I felt something release in my diaphragm area. I felt something release in my back, in my shoulders. So the physical, it's like literally body, mind, spirit, soul
Sure.
process, so that it's not just up here, as we've been saying. It's not even just here. I mean, it is really a process that allows you to dig deep into some of the roots that are keeping you and limiting you from happiness, joy, peace. Probably, I would say, if I had to, the commercial for the Pondera process or the Pondera path is literally it's the most effective way to tap into your inner peace that I've worked with. So there's your commercial.
Yeah, and I would this isn't anything new. Back in the early 20th century, there was a Dr. Albert Georgi, who's Nobel laureate in MD, and he said he described the human cell as being a machine powered by energy. So you can understand how we function by looking at how we act as a machine and also from energy. The reason you felt that change in your body is because you're shifting the energy in your body and your cells, and the machine goes, oh, I'm not stuck anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it does require, I mean, it's not a light switch. Like 20 minutes, I believe, will help you with whatever your presenting emotion and anxiety is around. But it does involve some practice. I call it blisscipline. So I don't want people to think that this is like a quick fix, instant microwave of anxiety forever. So just so that we're being clear here, I mean, it's a process that you have to practice. I mean, everything is practice, and
we practice being anxious.
Yeah.
True.
And some of us get really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now we can practice being less anxious.
One of the things I play with when somebody says to me, well, I have anxiety. I'm like, well, show me where. And they look at me funny, which is fine. The point is that what you do, Larry, one of the ways I look at it is you're really good at getting the anxiety out of someone. is they perceive it as, I have this, I have anxiety. And what you're good at is getting it out here so it can be looked at and picked apart and let go of and changed and sometimes destroyed, right? And almost every time significantly lessened.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I want to thank Leo for being here, and he has said direct your energies away from a specific issue. So it sounds like you're definitely getting what we're talking about here, and that. Oh shoot, I had a good point and it just left me. I have great memory, but my recall sucks. But it's okay. We're coming up at the end of the show, so I'm going to ask Jeff, what is your final word for this hour, as well as Larry, if you could sum it up in a minute? Go. Final word.
There are options to anxiety. Okay? It's not something you have to have. Okay? Now, you look around today, you think, well, everybody's got it. Well, how come I don't? There are options. And the question is, would it be okay if it was fast and easy to get past this?
Great. Larry?
Give yourself permission to feel peaceful. What we've done is provide you a very inexpensive demonstrated path that you can take the steps on. We'll give you the encouragement and the tools to do it. It's your option.
How much is it? $27. Never mind.
Yeah, I think it was incredibly
$27. Okay, so y'all have $27. I'm sure. Just don't go to Starbucks 3 times.
That's just what I was Starbucks, right?
Sorry.
Grande, venti, mocha, something.
Yeah, $27. Try the process. See what happens, and if it works, then please come back and share. And we would love to know what
or when it works.
Anxious about. Pardon?
When it works.
When it works. Absolutely.
It does no harm. It does no harm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I put the link in the chat so you can get it from there. If you let's see. If you want me to message that to you, just contact me through social media. I know Larry started with the bad social media, but there are good things about social media. You can contact
part of my
me.
trauma.
That's right. I'm still working with him, Jeff, by the way, on seeing social media as a kinder, gentler way to do free marketing and free, because you can have a great idea, but if you don't communicate it, it's hiding that bushel. Right. So my final word is stop feeding your anxiety. Treat it with anxiety away, $27. Easy way to make your 2025 different. Stop the old habits that feed your anxiety, because it ain't good for you. So thank you so much to both of you for coming on and being live here in studio. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live with Larry Burton, Jeff Herring, knowing that it is all about balance. And this is what I do to end every show. If you'd stick up your fingers, please, not that finger, but peace fingers, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa, hoping that you have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.